Hi there, it's Karen here. Welcome back. And today is the day for the Altered Index Challenge 2025. And this challenge is hosted by lovely Suzanne over at Nonstop Papercrafts, which I should have said last week, but I was so excited to get on with it, I completely forgot that I should really be telling you where the challenge comes from and who's hosting it and the rest of it and how to get hold of the prompts. Because you'd need to go over to Suzanne's channel and then follow her link to her Ko-fi page, and that's where you find all the prompts for this challenge if you are interested in doing it. I know I've left it a bit late to say that, as we're on week 4 already. But I really thought I should do that, and I'll try and do that every week. And I will definitely be linking her channel below, and then you can follow her links through to her Ko-fi page if you're interested. So today's prompt, and I'll also mention that I am cutting. I've got some mixed media card that I'm working on, although it's an altered index challenge, because index cards tend to be a bit flimsy, and we're doing a mixed media challenge. As Suzanne has done herself, I have cut some mixed media card to the size of my index cards, which happens to be 4x6, so it's a nice convenient size. And then what I've been doing is gluing my index cards on the back and then saying which week it is and what the prompt is. I can just show you. Whoops. So this was last week's, and I've got my index card on the back and I've written down what the prompt was and what week it was, just so that I've got that as a record. Should I need it to be a record recorded, but that's what I'm doing. So, so I've got a little dry tickle today. So the prompt today, which has challenged me a bit, well to start with anyway, is poetry. Now poetry, I thought, well, how do you do poetry in a mixed media challenge? That was what I was struggling with to start with. I couldn't figure it out. And then I remembered I had this book here, this lovely book. I bought it quite a while ago, about 5 years ago, from a charity shop, the Walker Book of Poetry for Children. So I just had a look through to see if I could find any inspiration in here, and I found this lovely little poem. Because it had to be something small to go on my card, and something that I could possibly decorate to go with it. And this one is called The Snowflake, so it's a lovely little poem. I'll quickly read it to you, because then you'll see where I'm coming from, what the vibe is I'm going for on this card. The snowflake. Before I melt, come look at me, this lovely icy filigree of a great forest in one night. I make a wilderness of white, by skyey cold, of crystals made, all softly on your finger laid. I pause, that you my beauty see, breathe, and I vanish instantly. Isn't that beautiful? By Walter de la Mare. So I thought, well, that will be my focal point, and what I'm going to do is do a snowy ice. Snowflakey background. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer really. Once you've got the poem that you want to use, then you can use your background and your mixed media to enhance that poem. So I think the first thing I need to do is tear it down, because obviously this is far too big. I just tore it quickly out of the book, and then I thought I'd just try and tear it down. It may have to tear it down a bit more, but then I might want to go over the edges of the paper a bit with my mixed media, just to kind of bring it together. I want to keep the author in as well. So what I might do is actually bring some of the various media I'm using over the edges of this paper, a little bit here and there. And I'll tell you what, I brought so many things in, it's ridiculous. Can't possibly use it all. But it's nice to sort of have choices, because sometimes these things develop as you're working on them, and you don't know what you're going to need. So I've got my poem, which is it's quite long, so it takes up a little bit of room. There's a bit there I want to tear off. Not a really tiny poem, but it's narrow, so I thought it would fit quite nicely down the middle. And I thought, well, I don't want to make just a white on white on white, obviously, because snowflakes are white. So I want to bring a bit of blue in to give that icy feel. Start to lay the colour down on the back, put a blue kind of background, so you've got the kind of sky feel with the snowflakes against it. And I was trying to find a colour of blue, like an icy coloured blue. And I've got chipped sapphire, which is really dark. I've got this one, which is faded jeans, which again I think is probably, I felt was too dark. So I ordered myself a new one, a new Distress Oxide, the Stormy Sky, because I thought that might work. But actually it's more grey than blue. I've just tried it out because I didn't know what it would be like. It's got quite a lot of grey in it, and it's not really the colour I was going for. So I looked back at some of my really old inks to see if I had anything, because before I started using the Ranger inks, before I even knew about Ranger inks, when I was scrapbooking and not doing a lot of that kind of thing, so I used to buy these little things, Versacolour, little tiny. I've got loads of them. Never use them anymore. Never forget I've got them, really. So I had a quick look in my box of these, and this one is sky blue, and this is probably one of the oldest ones I've had. It probably one of the first ones I bought, so it's really old. But I gave it a little squirt of water, and I think I can get some colour out of it, and it's exactly the colour I was looking for, pretty much. So I thought I'm going to give this a try and see if I can get a bit of this colour on my background. In fact, I think what I might do, just to see if I can get it, I might just try and go round this piece of paper, around the poem. So it's a really pretty blue. I always liked it. I just kind of forget I've got it. It's got a bit watery now because I've sprayed it. Just try and wake it up a bit. So I hope it's not going to be too watery. But I am getting a nice little bit of blue around those edges. And I can leave that to dry while I try and do something on the background. So then that will show that up a little bit. Let's put that over there. So I'm going to try the good old technique of smooshing it onto a stamp block. And try and get as much colour out as I can. It's a really pretty blue, look at that. I didn't really need to buy that other one, but you always think you're going to find the right one, but it's really hard to tell what they're going to turn out like. So I might just put just a tiny little bit of water. I don't want it even too watery, but I want it to run a little bit. Just to make it a little bit more, just kind of run over the block a little bit. And then we'll do some drips and we'll do some smooshing. Okay, we have some blue on the background. I don't know how well I'm not sure how it'll dry. I might need to put a bit more on. I might even do the odd touch of the faded jeans just to bring up a bit more blue, because it's quite soft, that colour. So I think I'll just dry that next, see how it looks. I might put another layer on. I'll just bring in my heat gun. Heat tool, whatever you call it. They're glue guns and heat tools, aren't they? Right, just going to dry it off, and then we'll see how it looks when it's dry. Okay, so this is dry. It's a little too subtle, so I'm going to add a bit more, but I might put just a little touch of the Stormy Sky in and mix it, just to sort of give it a little bit more depth of colour. I don't know if that will work. I didn't know whether to use the faded jeans or the Stormy Sky, but maybe we should try and use the one that I've actually bought for the job. Because you do need a fairly, to get, oh I don't know, I actually think I'd rather have the faded jeans, the proper blue, so that the snowflakey bits, the various things I'm going to add on top are going to show a little bit more. I'm going to kind of hope that, put a bit of that in there. Yeah, just wipe that off a bit. That doesn't matter. Okay, we'll give that a squirt. Mix those two together a little bit. I'm going to concentrate around the edges because obviously the poem is going to be around the outside. So okay, that's all right. I've got a little spot of yellow right there. I think I picked it up there. I think it was yellow on my mat from when I did the butterfly challenge. So I've wiped that all off now. So I'll dry that and then we'll start adding some snowflakes. Right, so I found I have quite a selection of snowflake stencils. So I brought, I've got a couple here. I've got that one, they're too big. This is a good one because it's quite a dense pattern. And then I have another one here as well, which I also quite like. Used it, looks like I've used it before. So in case of, I'm going to use one of these two. I might use them both with different things. It's a bit difficult to know. I've got things to choose from and I'm not quite sure what ones to use. That's my problem. So one of the things I've brought in is this. I've had this a long time. This is a Liquitex. It's a textured gel with glass beads in it. So they kind of, it's got quite a bit of texture to it. And I thought and if they're a bit glisteny, they look a little bit snowy. And I'm thinking I might add some glitter to it. So I have that, and I think I'm going to use a bit of that. I've also brought in, again, my silver Heidi Swap texture paste, because that might work as well. And some ordinary modelling paste, of which I don't have so much, so maybe I'll be a bit more sparing with that. And the other thing I brought, which I found in my drawer, forgotten I had, I don't know if I've ever used it even, it's a Flower Soft. I've got 2 or 3 different Flower Softs. There's just like a fine powdery stuff really. This is Polar White, and I think it might be rather good to try and sprinkle perhaps around the edges as snow or something like that. That's what I might do, sort of a snowy look, or just all across the bottom. I don't know, see how it develops. I've got some scrapbook paper with the blue and snowflakes on, so I thought I might put a bit of that because it's another media, isn't it, paper? I thought I can't use paper, it's not a collage challenge, but I can, why not? Suzanne has said she's aiming to use a minimum of 3 different media, so I think I've got at least 3, if not, well, several more. In fact, I tend to go a bit overboard really. So let's try a bit of this, I think. Just trying to think where to put it, because I don't want too much of it. And I also wasn't sure whether to stick this on first and have things going over the edge of it, but I think that might be, I might end up losing this a little bit. So I think I'll put a piece of this across the corner here. Try not to put it where the paper's going to go. It's a little bit of juggling act with this stuff because it's quite thick now because it's old. I've had it quite a long time, but I'm just going to put it across this corner, I think. Hope it still works. I did try it out when I was going through all my various media when I was starting this challenge, and I checked everything to make sure it was still usable. And this one appears to be okay. Let's just put my lid back on this little link. Right, so I'm going to use this because it's quite a lot. It's quite a it's got lots of snowflakes on, to what I'm trying to say. They're all close together. They're not too spread out. And on a small piece, you want lots of the design, really, don't you? So I'm just going to try and spread this across. It's very sticky. It's like glue with little chunks of glass beads in, and for some reason I've got some little bits of something or other in there as well. Get rid of that if I can. I don't let go of my, there we go, of my stencil. I don't want it to slip. All going all the way down the side here. Okay. And let's just lift that up and see how it looks. Okay. Yeah, that's turned out all right. I need to clean it quick because this stuff will dry very hard on my stencil. I may use a bit somewhere else because I quite like it. It's got real texture. I don't know if you can see that, the texture on there. It's quite thick. So I need to get it off here quick. That one's done. Where's the other? Oh, have I got another one? No. You need quite a lot of these wipes when you're doing these challenges because a lot of clearing up needs to happen. And I must remember to do my spatula this time. I keep forgetting that, and then suddenly remembering just in time to get the paste off before it dries. I've done that twice now. Okay. And what I think I might try and do while this is still wet is to add my glitter, because that'll hopefully enhance it a bit. I might put some more glitter on elsewhere, but I'm almost certain I will. Does this come off? I think it twists. Yeah. There we go. And there's like little holes, like little pepper pot holes. I might just use those to sprinkle my glitter. And it'll hopefully at least stick to the paste. It may even stick to the background. It kind of goes everywhere. There we are. It's very fine. Oh, yep, I think there's some on there. Just going to scrape the edge. There's a bit sticking off the edge here. That's it. I'm just going to wipe this up because it's too hard to try and get it back in the pot. Right, so I've got that. I'm wondering whether to put a bit of this on down here. See, I've got my snowflake punch, and I've clearly punched snowflakes out of here. Maybe that's what I should use that. Maybe I'll use that with the snowflake little punch. There's the marks already in it. Something like that. Let's see. Let's bring in my little poem. Make sure that still fits on there. Yeah. Right, so I'm just trying to decide what to do on these two corners. I might do some more of the texture paste. Shall I glue that on? I do quite like that there. Yeah, I'm going to put that on there, I think. Pop that in that corner. Okay. Now, I'm going to pull in some of these slightly larger. Ooh, don't want them too big, do I? One or two snowflakes. Let's get rid of that. Or shall I stick with my small? My brain just sometimes just forgets the word for these. Stencil. That's the word. Yeah. I might just put a few silver, but not as many. These were quite big ones in the end, weren't they? Let's try with a little bit of this silver texture paste. But I'm going to try and be a little bit selective as to which snowflakes I use. Now I'm going to dry these, then I can add a couple more. I think that's the best way to go. So I'll just dry that. I just want to remove this little bit that doesn't belong. There we are. Okay, so these are nice and pretty much dry now, which means I can now kind of do a little bit more further across. And I just want to make sure I put them so that maybe there's one here just poking out from behind my poem. I might do one down here maybe. Something here maybe. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to do, let's try and find a nice little one. Well, there's a really little one there, isn't there? It's just difficult to get just the little one and not something else. Okay, so I'll put a little one there. Have I got any of this? Is this dried as well? No, this is still okay. And I think what I'd quite like to do now is to put some more of the glass beads on this corner, I think. Maybe just down this side a little bit. Let's have a look. Got that. I'm not going to push it right down because there's obviously that's not all dry. I'll put that there. Might just put a little bit more. I know I've got the snowflake shapes punched out, but you can't hardly see them anyway, so I'm just going to... Maybe I'll use this stencil. There's some small ones here. Perhaps I'll use that. And a bit more of this, the glass beads. I do like those and they look very snowy. Where should we put it? Kind of like that. The edge. Bring it in a little bit. All right. Let's go with that, shall we? Okay, let's pull that up. See, it's come out. Right, let's see, that's gone a little bit thick there. That's an odd bit that we don't want there. Just touch it up a little. I think I really like to put that one, a little bit of that one there. I'll risk it. I'm going to try it. A little bit on that edge. Try doing it without squishing on the others. Alright, lift it up. There's a little bit there. The thing is, snowflakes are never perfect, are they? My snowflakes are not perfect. Okay, let's just make sure I've got everything off the stencil. And off the spatula. Right, once more. Oh no, before I dry, I need to add a bit more glitter, don't I? Let's see. Let's give it a good old sprinkle. I might even attach to some of the silver. Some of it's dry, so I might have to add a bit of glue later. Don't want any more glitter. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, I've certainly got it on this bit. It's attached to that, and onto some of the silver where it was still wet. Right, I should have done that on the other bits before I dried the other silver bits, shouldn't I? But I didn't. Right, I'm going to clean this up, dry this, and then I'll be back again. Okay, so this is all dry. I have gone ahead and glued this on. I did do it on camera. I seem to have forgotten to turn it back on again, which is one of those things that I do tend to do, and I'm really annoyed with myself. But that's all I've done is glue on the little poem in the middle there, which is where I was always planning to do it. And now I'm going to try and add some of this Flower Soft, very fine, powdery stuff. It says diamond, from the diamond range, so I don't know what that means, whether it means it's got a bit of a shine to it. So I'm going to use my glue stick just to go around this edge, I think. That's it, just like that, and up the side a little bit. And if it works out, I might add a bit more somewhere else, I don't know. But I think that might be enough. And I'm going to try using my spatula to put it on. Just kind of like little tiny flecks of snow, really. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Just a little bit at a time. It's rather nice. All these things that I've bought over the years, and then I just forget I've got them, or it's really pretty, the Flower Soft. I've got a really lovely pink one, and I've got a green one. Do you think I ever remember I've got them? No. Right, I'm just going to pat that down a bit. Don't know how far up I took the blue now. Did I take it right up the edge? Not sure. Just going to pat it into place. Scrape along the bottom there so it's not too much. Hopefully this the glue stick will hold. It's quite good, this glue, it's Yoo-hoo glue. Hopefully it works alright. You never know. Just kind of patting it down. So yeah, it's not really thick white. Could possibly add a little more. Don't know how well you can see it really. It's quite fine. But I quite like that. And I might even, shall I try sprinkling? Don't think I can get some glitter on there. Maybe I'll just try sprinkling a bit of glitter as well. Well, it might stick to some of it. There we go, just a sprinkle. I think there's just a little touch in there. So we've got a bit of snow down here. Okay. It's not as white as I thought it would be, but it is a little bit of texture. I don't know how well you can see. Can you see that? A little bit of texture along this bottom edge. So it's where all the snowflakes have settled into snow. Let's just clear some of these bits off. I'm not going to try and put them back in this pot. I mean, the pot is overflowing as it is, almost. Just going to pop that back on there. I could feel that coming. I didn't want to cough before I put the lid on. Give my mat a good clean after, I think. Right. So, final few little finishing touches. So I've got this little pot of sparkly bits. A lot of them are stars, but there are a few snowflakey looking bits. I don't really want to use these really massive blingy ones. They're just too big. But I've got a couple of these little, 2 or 3 maybe, these little pearly ones which are rather lovely. I wondered if I could put 1 or 2, maybe 3 of those. Another one there. How would that look? Down there? Maybe there. And I also was thinking of punching out some blue ones. Let's try. Bring in a bit more of that colour because it's there. This card is the same blue as that paper, which is rather nice. Can I get... I don't know if this is going to be overkill. It's quite possible. Not sure about the blue ones. I think it's too much. Possibly. One over there, maybe one here, no. on the edge there. Maybe that would work. I've really gone for snowflakes in a big way, but then the poem is called The Snowflake. I kind of like that. Is that weird? I don't know about this one. I'll hold fire on that one. That might not be the right place for it, but I rather like these little pearly ones because they just give a little something extra, and I kind of like the blue ones off the edge. They just give the bit of colour around where there isn't much. Okay, so I'm going to glue the blue ones on. Just with my glitter glue. Goes on the edge there. And this one will go on the edge over this side. I like to try and get 3 on, because 3 always looks more balanced, doesn't it? Going on there. There is a little bit of texture paste on here, so I don't know how well it will stick. That one there. Can we do one? Could I do half a one, just poking out from behind there? Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll cut that in half. That one is just going to come out from just behind my poem. Like that. Yes. Move it up just a touch. Nope. Like that. Okay. And I think, what am I going to use for my other snowflakes? I'll just take these off a minute and trim the other 2 down. I think I'm going to try using the fabric glue. I really don't want to get my hot glue gun involved because these are too fine, and I shall probably burn myself. That's my feeling. Trim those off. Trim that off. Okay. So we'll try the fabric glue. See if it's strong enough to hold these down. I think it probably is. It's quite good. Quite good, this glue. So I know the prompt is poetry and not snowflake, but I think you've got to use the poem. For my mind, the poem is going to inspire the mixed media. That's how I felt. I would be very interested to watch Suzanne's video on this prompt, because I haven't done. I'm not letting myself watch her videos. I've come up with my own plan or my own idea and then see how she's interpreted it. If I find there's a prompt that I really, really am struggling with, I may well watch hers first just to see what she does, and then it might get me started, give me the inspiration of what I need to do. Now, where's that one going to go? It's going to go down there. But I'm going to try not to do that unless I absolutely have to. I'm going to pop that one there. Okay. That's it. I know I usually finish things off with splatters. I'm not sure I want to splatter this. because I think I could mess it up. So I think I'll leave that as it is. This is my interpretation of the prompt poetry by taking a little poem and using that to inspire my mixed media. That's how I've done it. I don't know if that's how other people have interpreted it, but that's how I've done it. I have enjoyed this. It's so much fun to use things that you never use normally. And it does look very snowflakey, doesn't it? So there we are. Poetry prompt done. Shall we have a look and see what next week's prompt is? I'm just going to have a quick look. I'm going to cross off my prompt number 4. And next week it's puzzles. So that's interesting. There's all sorts of ways you could go with that. Puzzles. So I'm trying not to look down at the other too much at the other prompts and kind of start to get my head working. But I see one or two that are going to really challenge me, I think. A bit scary. Yeah, so I'm just going to try and deal with one at a time. So puzzles is next week. Poetry this week. And it's done. So thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed it a lot. I'm enjoying this challenge. It's something really different. So I'm going to keep going with it. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.